that Amy Santiago and Alex Dunphy are two sides of the same coin, except Amy Santiago got the love that Alex Dunphy never did, like the love and attention and the ability to grow. I don't mean from her own family. I do not mean from the Santiagos. I mean from her work family, because Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Modern Family are both in and of themselves, like at their base core, family sitcoms, okay? And I know what you're gonna say, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine is about a found family, Jacqueline. It's not actually about like a family. Modern Family is about a family. Yeah, but Brooklyn Nine-Nine is really written to be about a family anyways. Like, sure, these are all adults, but Terry is the mom. Holt is the dad. Rosa, Jake, Amy, Charles, all siblings and/or cousins, depending on how you want to put it. And yes, it's weird that I'm saying that Jake and Amy are kind of siblings, but they are. It's a family dynamic show, and until like they marry in, it's a whole thing. But the thing is, Amy Santiago doesn't get the love and affection that she deserves from her actual Santiago family. Too much of that attention goes to her brothers. She's one girl out of like 7 brothers or something ridiculous. And on top of that, her oldest brother, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who she actively dislikes because he sucks, is the one who's gonna get all the attention, the one who's gonna get all the props, the one who's gonna get everything that he deserves or whatever, which is why Amy's on the piano and he's on the mantle. It's heartbreaking, it's upsetting. No one plays the piano, everyone looks at the mantle, and it's just, it's so frustrating. But when Amy is at work trying to get the captain to pay attention to her, trying to get the captain to tell her how she can be better, hanging out with her siblings, even the meanest sibling, Gina, who I could make an entire video on that, she's learning to be a better cop, a better person, a better team player, and a better member of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine family. Amy gets all the love and affection that she really needs and deserves and needed for her entire life from her Brooklyn Nine-Nine family. Whereas Alex Dunphy, so here's the thing. I have a couple of things that I'd like to say about Alex Dunphy, and it would have to be in a completely separate video for me to be able to talk about all of it, because it's a lot. But the basic concept is Alex Dunphy is a character who Phil describes as a self-cleaning oven, which, self-cleaning ovens don't actually self-clean. Every person I've ever heard talk about a self-cleaning oven is like, yeah, don't actually use the self-cleaning feature. Don't use it. It's dangerous. Don't do it. It sucks. So when you describe Alex as a self-cleaning oven, it just means that you're being lazy or you're not actually doing any of the work that it really says that everyone else says that you should do. But I have so many things I could say about the Alex-Claire relationship, because when they do have episodes surrounding each other, they were never really given episodes surrounding each other, which does bother me at the base core of myself, because Alex and Claire are so similar in so many ways, and Alex really got all of Claire's adult features while Haley got all of Claire's like features from when she was younger. But the thing is, I think that when Alex and Claire are together, it's so clear how much they love each other. And my favorite episode of theirs is very specifically the episode where everyone's giving Alex gifts for having graduated college, and Claire is just going around trying to figure out a perfect gift to give her daughter, figure out the perfect thing that she can give her. And every time that she's like really been like, okay, I've been thinking about this one for a while, like she had a list and she like goes down the list, but everyone keeps giving Alex the gifts first because they want to make the day about themselves. And yes, technically you could say that Claire is making the day about them herself as well, but Claire's the one that helped Alex get through that. And at the end of that episode, when Claire's just like, I've gone through everything I possibly could on things that I would want to give Alex on this very special day for her, and she's like losing her baby, and it's very heartbreaking. Alex is the one who goes, no, Mom, you got me through this. You're the one who got me here. You're the one who made sure of it. And it's really sad that we have to be told that instead of being shown it, because the show really, every time there was a potential for an Alex and Claire episode, became an episode about somebody else. So when Alex was graduating middle school, it became an episode of Phil trying to make Claire cry actively for the entire episode. And then for the high school graduation, it was Phil and Claire not being able to get to the graduation and just doing everything that they absolutely possibly could for it. But like, I'm losing track. This was something I was planning on making another video. But I would say that Claire can't give Alex the love that she deserves, not because she doesn't want to, but because the writers go around to, but B, because there are the other two kids, and they're the other two kids who take so much more time and effort. But Phil chooses not to, except in the episodes where he's like, oh, Alex doesn't have any fun memories of me. But Alex didn't get any of the love that she, like, needed and deserved, because Alex was the one who was so much less trouble and so much less of an issue that they never gave her what she needed. And they always wanted to play up everyone else's. And I'm going to make another video. I'm going to make another video on the other part of the Claire issue, which is Alex always having her, like, really big things be downplayed to not make the other two feel dumb or silly or stupid. And that also hurts so much, because it's so much like Alex never gets the love and attention that she deserves. Alex never really gets to have it be heard, I am so proud of you. And Amy didn't get to hear that until she got with Holt and Jake and Terry and all these other people who, like, actively love her and believe in her. And I do have a theory that when she gets older, Alex and Claire are able to get so much closer than they were before, because Claire no longer has to worry about Haley and Luke as much. But that's a different theory for a different day. I'm like making myself tear up over this video. I feel very silly right now. I never really cry over my videos that I'm making, but, like, this one's kind of making me tear up. But, like, the thing is that Alex and Haley are, not Alex and Haley, actually all the Dumpy kids are very overlooked in the entirety of the show. But Alex and Amy are, in their families, in the same way, really overlooked. But Amy got to come into her own as an adult, and I can see that also happening for Alex so long as she dumps Arvin's ass. And hopefully goes back to school, because I think that she would make a killer professor. And I think that she should be a professor. And I think that that was really what the show was kind of working towards for Alex. And then they decided not to do it at the last minute. And it breaks my heart, because Alex, the professor, would be, like, the best thing in the entire universe. In my heart, in my soul. That's what I want for her. I have more I could say, but we're 7 minutes in, so I'm gonna go. I was gonna do kisses, and then I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm tired, okay? I was sick all of yesterday. I'm only feeling better today. Bye. Also, side note, who am I? Oh yeah, I win, you lose. I win, you lose. I got the job. Which one am I? Am I Amy? Am I Alex? You'll never know. They're the same. Thank you, goodbye. I just saw a clip of Grey's Anatomy where Derek is like, oh yeah, the chief is gonna be my best man for my wedding to you, Meredith. And Meredith's like, no, he's not, because I hate the chief. So no, he's not gonna be in my wedding as your best man, okay? No. And Derek's like, when are you gonna get over this petty issue with the chief? And Meredith is like, the only reason the chief is being your best man is because of your petty issue with your best friend of 20 years. I will get over mine when you get over yours, because the chief broke up my parents' marriage, broke up my childhood, made it so I was raised by a woman who actively hated me and every issue I caused her, and forced me to watch her try to unalive herself, but not really try to unalive herself, because she wasn't actually trying to die. She was trying to get the chief's attention. So I think that I don't have to get over my issue, which is a lifelong issue forever. Whereas you are just mad, not that your best friend slept with your ex-wife, but because your best friend is sleeping with my little sister, who also only exists because of the chief. I grew up thinking Derek was the best man to ever live, and thinking that I wanted a Derek. But may that love never find me, because that man did not like Meredith. He liked that Meredith was younger than him and someone that he thought he could bully. And every time she wouldn't let him bully her into submission, he would get mad at her.
We'll probably be talking about this as long as it is relevant on the internet, so just buckle in. But I'm sick and fucking tired of you guys talking about Ariana Grande like you know her. You don't. And at what point in society are we gonna stop holding pop stars accountable for how young girls turn out, or being role models for young girls? Did they say they wanted to be that? Or are they doing their fucking job, which is fucking singing and dancing and whatever else they feel like doing? They never said that they wanted to be your little Susie's fucking role model. They never said that. They never signed up for that. And yes, people are going to idolize them, and so they should be careful about things that they say and stuff like that, but they can do that as a courtesy. Ultimately, you need to raise your own fucking kids. You are responsible for the body image and whatever else relationships your kids have with food, and I know that doesn't exist in a vacuum, but Someone that is in Hollywood, if you're leaning on them and looking to them for your kid to develop their relationship with food and eating and all of that, then they're fucked. They're fucked. Furthermore, when you think that someone is struggling with an illness, which is what an eating disorder is, it's even more evil and sinister to then be like, oh, you need to take care of your body, or you need to address this, or you need to do this or that, even though you're actively struggling with this, because teenage girls or little girls might hypothetically think that they need to look like you. Instead, we need to have conversations around the fact that why are women's bodies just the subject of every fucking conversation? Why are women's bodies treated like public property that we have to cater to this and cater to that? They're our fucking bodies. They're ours. They belong to us. They don't belong to you. They do not need to be manipulated and changed so that you can feel comfortable, so that this person can have this relationship with their body. The fact that your relationship with your body, or a potential young girl's relationship with her body, is dependent on what they see in the media, that is a problem in and of itself. That is a problem. The fact that women's bodies are trends that go in and out of style, that is a problem. And it is also a problem that you guys have such little empathy for people that you think are struggling, which they have never told you that they are. That you think that they are supposed to prioritize this potential person over what they're actively struggling with. You guys are fucking evil, and your fake concern is so fucking annoying. Like, it's genuinely so fucking annoying, because you raise all these points and you act like you're so concerned, and then what? And then what? Because you still don't fucking know them. You still have no power over what they do. You still hold no influence over them because you don't know them. Even the people in the lives of people that are struggling with certain illnesses and addictions and all that stuff, if they don't even have like a very large influence over them, what the fuck makes you think somebody with a fucking Twitter account is going to be able to do? Someone with a fucking TikTok account is going to be able to do? Nothing. Nothing. I need you guys to get that through your thick fucking skulls. Pop stars are not parents to your kids. They're not. They're not. They are not responsible for how your fucking kid turns out. Stop having them listen to the pop singers. Stop having them look at the pop singers. If it's such an influence, if your kid, if you are raising somebody that cannot think for themselves, that is going to be like, yes, kids are impressionable, and I understand that completely. But that is your job as a parent, ultimately, to teach them how to have those relationships, not relying on some random ass pop singer with her own struggles, her own mind, her own things that she is dealing with, because she is a human being and not something that is just strictly for public consumption, where everybody's like, no, do this with your body, no, do that with your body, because this person might think this. Like, do you realize that you sound fucking insane? And I'm also not saying that people should start, but they don't do this with male celebrities. They never do this with male celebrities. Even when they have like one piece, like a little ass piece of chicken and a piece of broccoli for dinner, and they post that on their Instagram story, they're just locking in at the gym and nobody says anything about them. It's so interesting how that works. They can be spreading false images about bodies and false ideas about how you're supposed to look and whatever, but it's only women, because women are public fucking property to you stupid ass people. And it's our responsibility for everybody to feel a certain way. That makes no fucking sense. If you want to go date men, go do it. It's the most socially acceptable thing in the world. Stop crying in my comments about it. I don't care. If you want to ignore all logic and statistics and everything, then good for you. I don't care. However, it's not the same. It's not the same as misogynistic men dating women. Men are misogynistic because they are socialized to believe that they are above women, and they are socialized to believe that our pain and what we go through and everything is irrelevant, and also to see us as objects. And there are also several systems in place to keep that system thriving. We live under a patriarchy. I don't feel the need to explain it. You know what misogyny is, hopefully. Misandry actually comes from when you are very hyper aware of how much they hate us, and how that has superseded and gone through century after century after century. Eventually you get fed up. Eventually you start to think about the fact that so many women have died and continue to die because of their hatred. So many women are raped and abused at such high rates every single day because of them. Once you start to become aware of those things and the lives that women don't get to have, the lives that girls don't get to have, the childhoods that girls don't get to have, that can result in you not liking your oppressor. That is what misandry is. So when you have that awareness, When you truly have that awareness and not just like a hee, I hate men, like men shouldn't speak. Like when you truly have that awareness, there's no way that you can stomach dating men. Because if you think that there is an exception, that your little golden retriever puppy is the exception, then you are still living in a land that does not coincide with misandry. That's all I'm going to say. It does not coincide. You are still holding on to that little bit of hope that the one that you find is going to be different and is going to be the exception to all the statistics and everything. You are still hoping that you are not going to become a headline. And that is fine, but you're not a misandrist. And also misandry is not real, but that's like, it's a whole other conversation, but just entertaining the idea of it. You're not a misandrist. You do not hate men. You are not super aware of their hatred of us and no longer holding out for the hope that they're going to be different if you choose to date them. That's just a fact. I think that inclusivity is so important, especially as a Black lesbian woman. However, I think that one drawback to it is that everybody thinks that everything has to fit them. Like if this doesn't cater to them, how do I change the definition of this so that it can fit me? How do I make everyone that it does fit feel like shit about it? Like y'all are annoying and y'all are insufferable as fuck. You either are or you aren't something. Like you don't need to change the definition. Like it's okay to not be a certain thing. Like you don't have to try to force yourself into every space and every category. Like it's okay.
New movement called 5J. Whole movement is to stop procreating and sleeping with mentally ill women.
So you see women who don't want to procreate, entertain, or date men who want to control their fucking bodies, and this is how you respond. You call them mentally ill. Men really hate strong, independent women that don't need a man. How much you want to bet you still call your mommy every time something fucks up in your life? Mommy, can you schedule my doctor's appointment, please? And if it's not your mom, it's the woman that you try to control.
Go and cry on the internet.
And these are the men that try to sit there and claim that they care about women. But when they see you crying about losing their fucking rights, this is how they respond. After seeing thousands of men get on the internet and say, your body, my choice, because it was never about the babies. It was about controlling women's body.
Cut all their hair off and complain about how they don't have any rights anymore.
And here you are, complaining about these women not wanting to fuck with you.
If you go on Twitter and look up 4B movement, it's literally a gold mine.
This is what a man who hates women would say. You have a issue with women not putting up with your bullshit. But what would you expect from someone who voted for a man who is legally liable of SA?
These chicks are literally talking about not going around and sleeping with men anymore.
And that bothers you. And that fucking bothers you. Or maybe it doesn't, because how much you want to bet grinders on your phone?
Like, congrats on not being a bop.
Slut-shaming woman. I'm gonna be honest though, I don't think this 5J movement would be that hard for you. Because I don't think you're doing it by choice. But it's so interesting, because if a woman is called a bop for having sex, right? What would the men that are having sex with them be called?
This shit only happens in fucking America. It's because Donald Trump's in office now.
It's because Donald Trump gives men like you the confidence to be grapists, to be woman haters, to be fucking bigots on the internet or in real life, saying things like, your body, my choice. Why would a woman want to fuck you? Maybe if there was a movement that made men less fucking fragile or less obsessed with policing women's bodies, they would actually want to fuck with you.
I'm gonna be honest, all the girls posting about it on Twitter are just giving themselves an excuse of why they're not sleeping with anyone anymore. Because no one's sleeping with them in the first place. So
I'm gonna be honest, the women that are participating in the 4B movement, 9 times out of 10, they get more compliments in one fucking day than you've ever gotten in your whole life.
now all of a sudden they're a part of a movement.
Does it hurt your feelings? Does it hurt your feelings that the small chance you had at actually getting a girlfriend just went down?
The new movement 5J will help mitigate the amount of people we see crying on the internet.
How? Now it's just gonna be men crying on the fucking internet. And instead of cutting your hair off, can you cut that off, please?
Hope and pray that these people get better.
Oh, I got the mirror for you.
And hope they allow Christ back in their life.
So like getting a woman is hard for you, I know that, but is reading hard for you also? Because they have audiobooks for the Bible. So let's make sure you actually listen or read the fucking Bible, love.
I don't want to hear about your white boy of the month anymore. Do you understand that Josh Hutcherson was the white boy of the decade during my formative years? Like, it's not a conversation.
Like my suitcase. I have to go to school now. It kind of upsets me that he doesn't talk like that anymore. Like he's probably just a grown man with a regular American accent. What a bummer. I kind of hope he does have that briefcase, though, with nothing but 2 papers in there. I don't know why he keeps calling it a suitcase. I don't know who taught him that. Probably the same dude who keeps calling it arithmetic.
If I hear one more damn ignorant post about how we didn't vote to protect women's rights.
Let me guess, you're going to bring up Laken Riley and you're going to say you voted to protect her without understanding that white men, U.S. citizens, are more likely to commit that crime.
17 minutes Laken Riley struggled for her life.
It's so fucking disrespectful because her parents have came out and said, we do not like how politicized our daughter's story is. They said, I feel like she's being used somewhat politically. It makes me angry. But you're going to continue to do that because this is the only thing that you can bring up to say that you care about women's rights. That and being fucking transphobic.
Well, it was being taken from her. And these people, y'all want to roll around here, shaving your heads and complaining about rights that you haven't lost.
Okay, so white male to white male, shut the fuck up. In Georgia alone, there have been 2 women who have died from lack of care because they weren't able to get medical attention because of the rights that they fucking lost. Love. You know, when like a doctor is too scared to actually give someone medical attention because they're scared they're going to go to fucking prison for something that they used to be able to fucking do to save the patient's fucking life. That's rights that have been lost, Bookie Butt.
Every single person who supported the last administration, every single person who voted for Kamala Harris.
We're going to do this one more fucking time. Comma, love, right? And I get it. You don't know how to use them properly.
Harris, you should have to listen to the trial of Laken Riley's kill.
Okay, so then you listened to every single school mooter trial that you said thoughts and prayers for, but you didn't want to actually implement policy or change. I need you to listen to every single trial from a woman who has died because she couldn't receive medical attention because of the rights that she fucking lost. I need you to listen to every single child that is crying because they were separated from their fucking families. Should I go on? Love?
In the things that she had to endure.
And then I need you to actually go and respect the parents of Laken Riley and actually listen to them. Love. Don't use it for your own political agenda when the family doesn't want that to happen. Thank you.
And then also look at the eyes of that man as he sits there, emotionless.
Take your glasses off. Can we see your eyes? How emotionless are your fucking eyes, beloved?
You have the gall to sit here and tell people who voted for Donald Trump that they don't care about women's rights.
Well, love, I didn't lie. Because you voted for someone who is legally liable of SA. You voted for a grapist. Somebody who is appointing more grapists into his cabinet. Seems like it's a requirement, actually.
We don't care about protecting women.
Well, when a lot of right-wing podcasters and a lot of right-wing individuals that have platforms came out and said, your body, my choice. That's the message that you send. You don't give a fuck about protecting women. You want to control them. Love.
While you grandstand and virtue signal for some imaginary cause that
Oh, I got the mirror for you.
you think you lost rights.
No, the actual delusion is where you think that immigrants stole your job. Where you think that immigrants are more likely to commit a violent crime in America. When it's actually... Right.
Explain that to the family of Laken Riley.
No, I need you to explain to her family why you are politicizing her story after they asked for it not to be. Why are you using her story to push your political agenda when her family doesn't want it to be?
How you support the people who made the policies that allowed that to happen to her.
So let's talk about how Republicans wanted to repeal the ACA, which would have left millions of people uninsured, which then would have resulted in deaths. Let's talk about how Donald Duck handled C-19, Let's talk about the pew pew policies that Republicans have or won't create. Let's talk about the reproductive rights that women have lost that has caused people to die also. Let's talk about the food assistance cuts that led to people being starved to death. Let's talk about the environmental deregulation that included clean water and clean air. Let's talk about the cuts to public health and public safety. Stop pretending like you care about helping people. You fucking don't.
God bless you, Lakin, and rest in peace.
Yes, please let her rest in peace. Stop using her story for a political agenda. It's fucking disrespectful, especially when her family has asked for you not to.
In Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Gina Linetti is a character who is absolutely meant to be flanderized. She was made specifically to be flanderized, and here's what I mean by that. Here's what I mean. Okay, so the show originally had all these characters, right? And when Hitchcock and Scully were created, you cannot tell me that they were not created specifically so that they could be flanderized as the show went on, so all these other characters could have this amazing amount of growth and storytelling and storyline, and then you'd always have Hitchcock and Scully to rely on with the jokes in the back, right? And then Chelsea Linetti auditioned for the role of one of the cops, and then she didn't get it. But here's the thing. The star of the show, Andy Samberg, did get a role in that show, and you know who he actually grew up with in real life? Chelsea Linetti. They've known each other like all their lives. And when he heard, he was like, hey, let's see if I can get you like a role on this show. You're so good. And that's when the character of Gina Linetti was created, okay? So Gina Linetti was not written to be an Amy Santiago. She wasn't written to be a Rosa Diaz. She was written to be another female character. And she is a silly, goofy female character. Now, I love Gina Linetti. I do. Do I have some major issues with her that I don't think could ever have been fixed? Actually, I do think they could have been fixed, and that's a bigger issue. Yes, but I love her as a character, and I love that she's not a character that gets a ton of growth at any given time. She gets storylines of growth, but she's never constantly actually growing. She is a character who remains pretty stagnant while also being this kind character, good sibling character for Jake, the best friend character, all that jazz. Now, my issue with Gina comes specifically with the Amy story, because Gina is a little mean to everybody, but she is a lot mean to Amy Santiago at any given point in time. And now that I'm doing another rewatch directly after I got like coffee in my hair and I don't want it to stain my white shirt, so let's just do that real quick. Now that what was I saying? I'm doing a rewatch directly after my other rewatch, and I realized that one of the reasons that Gina hates Amy is because in one of the first episodes of the first season of the show, Gina is like, oh, I'll help you guys do this program, and the program is getting youths to sign up to be like mini cops, basically, at-risk youths. And Gina's like, I can definitely help. And Amy's like, we don't need your help. We're cops. You're not a cop. We're cops. So we don't need your help. And then Gina decides basically that she hates Amy for the rest of forever, which would be funny and cool if it weren't for the fact that 90% of the time, Amy's constantly just trying to be nice to Gina and trying to get Gina to like her and trying to be friends with Gina. And B, that Gina, it feels like she's punching down every time, okay? Because Gina's so cool and so interesting, and all she ever does is remind Amy that she's not cool and not interesting, is totally boring, shouldn't wear the clothes that she wears, all this jazz. It's mean. It's mean girl energy, and that's the singular reason that I really dislike Gina Linetti's character. But overall, I think that her character is so interesting because I do give her these bits of character growth and these bouts of character growth. Like when she's banging Charles and we see that she actually has a soft heart in her relationship with Charles. Also, by the way, Charles Boyle is the backbone of the entire show, and you cannot convince me otherwise, except for when he's dealing with Amy, which is a completely different scenario. But when it comes to Rosa and when it comes to Gina, Charles and Jake, Charles is the backbone, and he does to Terry what did I get it? I got it. Okay. Charles does to Terry what Gina's doing to Amy, which is being mean. But Charles does it in a way where you don't even realize that Charles is actually being mean to Terry. He's just like, oh yeah, nobody would want a body like yours. Oh, you poor guy. All those muscles, ugh, no one likes that. Whereas Gina's like, ooh, nobody likes you or will ever love you. So there we go. And that's the difference. They were trying to make Gina like Charles is with Terry, with Amy, but it didn't work. It didn't go through. I spilled this coffee yesterday, so I'm not gonna let it be too close to my hands right now. But yeah, I have more than I could say about Gina, but I was specifically going to answer my Gina versus Amy situation, whereas every time Whereas to why every time I bring up Amy, I also bring up Gina and go, ugh, I really have a big issue with that. And it's because it never gets fixed. It's because it never gets healed. And it's because Gina doesn't grow as a character very often. And because she doesn't get that many storylines with Amy. So when they do get a storyline, by the end of the storyline, when you think that Gina's finally going to be soft again, the joke is that Gina's just going to revert back to who she is, which is someone who is actively mean to Amy because she needs someone to be mean to. And honestly, not okay. Not okay with that. Not my favorite thing. I wish that there were more that could have been done with Gina and Amy's relationship, because Amy and Rose's relationship is so important and so interesting and so cool. And we only have the 3 female characters on the show. And the fact that one of the female characters is so actively heinous to another female character is very frustrating. Okay, bye.
So apparently the word on the street is that liberal women are now going to start jumping conservative Southern women.
I feel like that fight would be more interesting than the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, but babe, you just made that up.
Not really word on the street, like word
Exactly, because you just made that shit the fuck up.
on TikTok. But literally my entire feed is seeing these videos.
Can you please tell me one, just one, of the creators that made those videos that you saw?
Do you know what y'all are getting yourself into?
I'm so scared. I'm scared.
We are built different.
I'm so scared. I don't give a fuck.
Okay? I don't particularly consider myself Southern, but I'm from a state that was completely red.
Well, now you just told us where your IQ is at.
Not one blue county or city in the entire state.
You're saying this like it's a flex.
Good job, West Virginia. Do you think that any of these conservative women are afraid of you?
And are we supposed to be scared of you? Girl, maybe jump scare. I don't fucking know.
We were raised to be the sons that our dads never had, even if they had sons.
I'm sorry? What am I supposed to say to that?
They are not women that you want to mess with.
Babe, I grew up in the South, and Southern white women, they're not scary, love. They'll sit up in your face, laugh in your face, kiki with you, then go talk shit behind your back. Oh my God, so fucking scary. I'm scared.
I don't think that you fully understand
Oh, I got the mirror for you.
that most of us are under 5'4", but we think that we are 6 foot tall and bulletproof, and we have no problem putting anyone in their place that even looks or speaks to us the wrong way.
I don't know why conservative white women think that liberals don't own pew-pews also. I mean, you could fuck around and find out if you want to. Do something crazy.
We are not cutesy. We are not demure.
Well, we knew you're not cute, and I wouldn't consider you demure, love.
We are 100% feral. Why do you think we're married to blue-collar men? Because they're the only ones that can handle us.
I don't know. That seems like a character flaw to me.
We didn't win the election, so we're just gonna go around and jump everybody. Yeah, seems like a logical way to deal with it. But hey, best of luck to you. I wish you the best.
Honestly, what it gives is y'all wanted to lose. Y'all wanted to fucking lose. You're upset that you didn't fucking lose, honestly, which is crazy. Like, a sore winner is fucking crazy, bro. Did you forget about January 6th? Did you want to do a part 2 or something? I'm confused.
I know that these are tough times and we could all use a win right now, but I'm so sorry. No one is going to convince me that this is one of them, okay? And I love you guys, I really do, but I'm so sorry, not enough for me to actually sit through this movie. I will not be seeing Red One. I will give you my opinion on Red One as someone who is probably never going to watch this movie, okay? This movie cost $250 million. Yes, okay, we all love J.K. Simmons, but the very concept of a jacked Santa backed by, like, the U.S. military complex, essentially, is not my idea of whimsy. okay? And I'm glad that this movie is bombing at the box office because not only does it look very bad, and I have no doubt that it is bad, it's an affront to like the very idea of what Christmas is supposed to be. This is American Christmas, the reality of capitalism, nostalgia bait bullshit. And listen, I'm sure there are people who like this movie, and I haven't seen it, okay? So you can believe in your heart that you are correct and I am incorrect, and I love that for you because what can I say? You've seen it and I haven't. But I just know in my heart that this is not anything I need to be a part of in any capacity, okay? Sometimes, truly, you don't have to overthink it. Sometimes your first impression is spot on, okay? We've all been blessed with this wonderful thing called intuition. It has helped me many times in my life. It's definitely helped me to better know myself, and it is a time saver, okay? The very second I knew that this movie is not going to be anything I cared about was because in the first few seconds of the trailer, presenting Santa as this, like, jacked caricature of hypermasculinity. One of my favorite Christmas movies of all time is Scrooged with Bill Murray. It's a delightful, modern, anti-capitalist take on A Christmas Carol. Not to say that the original Christmas Carol isn't anti-capitalist, but, you know, it updated the themes for a modern world that exists in late-stage capitalism, even in the 80s. Anyways, within that movie, within that comedy movie, there is a movie that they are trying to promote about Christmas wherein the $6 Million Man, like, has to save Santa Claus with machine guns at the North Pole. And that movie looks considerably better than this movie, to me personally, okay? To me personally. Anyways, the whole joke of that is how, like, American consumerism and American hyper-individuality and the need to sell this idea of, like, sexy machismo masculinity, like, is ridiculous, especially for a holiday like Christmas that's supposed to be about, like, you know, love and family and togetherness. That's the entire joke. And so it's kind of hilariously ironic to me that literally decades later, they basically made that parody movie from within Scrooged seriously for $250 million. And now it's bombing at the box office. Anyways, if you like this movie, I love that for you. It's so great. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, whatever. I simply can't partake. So that's my thoughts on that. And yeah, sorry if this bothers you because it's not a real review. But I have opinions even about movies that I have no intention of seeing.
I feel like it's not talked about enough how fucking hard it is to be a fan of literally anything nowadays because right-wingers have just infiltrated every fucking fandom. Like, go look online. There's probably, like, a group that loves bread. Like, they're bread lovers. And I guarantee it's been infiltrated by right-wingers that are like, when did Pumpernickel get here? Like, what is with all this woke stuff, this DEI bullshit? And I'm sorry, I don't mean to make this about me, but what the fuck? Everything I love has been taken by right-wingers. I love movies, I love comics, I love video games, I love working out, I've boxed like my entire life, all of it. Gone forever. And I know it's not just me or the stuff that I love. Like, I don't know anything about anime, I've never seen it, but I can gather that there are a lot of themes that right-wingers have probably missed. Oh my god, the anime space probably full of fucking right-wingers. Like, what do we do? How do we change this? Like, I want to go back to talking about movies without somebody being like, there's a woman lead. The woke strikes again. You see, the woke mob, what they don't understand is if you go woke, you go broke. Since we're talking about trans people, like, what? And I cannot be the only one that feels this way. Like, there has to be at least, like, 10 other people that are feeling this.
Here's the thing, you know how I hate Phil Dunphy for everything that he is, does, and says at all times? Because I do. I really do. This person just specifically asked me, do I think that the writers intended for Phil Dunphy to be a bad guy, to be a bad person character? And the answer is immediately no. They absolutely did not. They thought that this was like a dream dad scenario. And a lot of people in my comment section also continuously think that Phil Dunphy is a dream dad and a dream husband. But the issue is from the get-go, from the very first episode, the Phil Dunphy of it all is that he's hitting on Gloria. He's trying to make the kids laugh instead of trying to get them to do their homework. He wants to be the fun dad. He doesn't really care so much about being a husband unless he absolutely thinks that he's going to lose his wife. He has been stuck in a rut for the entirety of their marriage, not because there's really much of a rut to be stuck in, but because he just doesn't really like being married. He wants to be able to explore it, even though when he was exploring, he probably wasn't getting anyone, because the only reason that he's really charming to all these women is because he's a married man and he can kind of use that to his advantage. It's very just go with it, Adam Sandler's character, and Just Go With It, where he pretends to be married so all these women want to sleep with him who never would have wanted to sleep with him before. Look, it's a pumpkin. It's a pumpkin. And And Claire helps him to get the attention of more women and also to get the confidence he needs to be able to get more of these women, but he can never have these women because he's very specifically got this with Claire. Claire is his wife. Claire is the mother of his children. The children that he never takes care of are parents, and when he does try to take care of them or parent them, what happens? He becomes really scary and abusive because the minute that they don't listen to him, because he thinks that he can just leave them alone, he'll leave them alone and they'll prove him right, and then when they don't, he gets really, really mad and decides that the only way to fix this situation is to yell at them and threaten them and be really mean and scary and take away all their rights as human beings. Phil Dunphy wasn't actually, like, the show is trying so hard to push us into this rhetoric of believing that this man is a great dad and a great husband and a great person overall, and that's why Jay starts liking him finally, and that's why everyone loves him, and that's why he gets so much of the storyline. Well, that and because Ty Burrell is just so charming and so great and such a terrific actor and comedian. But no, Phil Dunphy is supposed to be our dream, which is why a lot of people get really mad at me when I say, how dare you, when I say, a lot of people get really mad at me when I'm like, Phil Dunphy is a bad dad and he's a bad husband, and people are like, how dare you, you've never seen a bad dad. And I'm like, I grew up with a bad dad. I grew up with the worst of the dads, and you know what? Phil Dunphy, still a bad dad, different kind of bad dad, but bad dad all the same, because I can guarantee, I know that every episode where someone in the show has an allergic reaction, it's because of Cam. It's because Cam doesn't know what his nieces and nephews are allergic to, which is a problem in and of itself that I hate so much. But I can guarantee that if Phil ever once stepped foot in the kitchen, he would put the kids' allergies, like allergens, in the food just because he can, so that he can prove that he can't do stuff like this. Because he is weaponized incompetence personified. But the writers, no, the writers definitely wanted him to seem like the best dad and the best husband of all time. They just failed. Because just because you cast Ty Burrell to be charming doesn't mean that Ty Burrell stays charming. I mean, he does. He's super charming. Phil Dunphy is very charming, but it doesn't mean that he seems good at anything that he does. Okay, thanks, bye.
There is no plan to jump Trump supporters, but what if I said that I wish there was? If not all of you, then certainly the most emboldened ones. Now, I'm not saying that, but what if I was? Would that be savage? Would it be violent? Uncivilized? Because you know what I find violent and uncivilized? Electing a white nationalist as president. I would argue that the entire U.S. government is stained with violence, and nobody embodies that more than Donald Trump. This is someone who uses hate speech, who openly incites violence every chance he gets. Something that culminated in an insurrection where people died. This is the same man who once said that we need, quote, one really violent, rough day of police retaliation to reduce crime. Does that sound familiar? I'm sure it does. It's the plot of the fucking purge. This is the same man who vowed to seek vengeance towards his political opponents down to withholding disaster aid from non-compliant states. That ain't violent? As a base, Trump supporters are so collectively violent that regardless of the election results, there were fears over how you motherfuckers would react. Had Kamala won, there were fears of a civil war, which really just means y'all raining terror on marginalized communities. Now that she's lost, people are bracing for what the environment will be after Donald Trump is sworn in. And let's be clear, there is no far left in this country. Y'all made that shit up, but I'm of the opinion that there should be. This is not a call for political violence from the left. It really couldn't be. We don't have the freedom, especially as black and brown people, the freedom that allows white supremacists to roam the streets in red states. Untouched, by the way. But it is me expressing that I'm tired of this spineless ass high road shit that Democrats take in the face of very clear violence from not only Donald Trump, but the people that support him and the system that allows for a politician like him to exist in the first fucking place. So instead of using the same tactics that got Rosewood burnt down, you know, those white woman tears, how about y'all be glad that you aren't getting your asses whooped? Have a nice day.
Stand by the opinion that men are not inherent leaders, that they are not meant to be leaders.
Literally, they're not. And I really didn't want to say this, but like I was so scared to say this because I already know like people are just going to come for me. But I'm a relationship therapist, and so I couldn't scroll past this video and not say anything. From my experience, the couples that are the strongest, most successful, longest lasting are the ones in which the woman is the leader of the relationship. Since the dawn of time, there's been so many women leaders that have been like in the Bible and in ancient Egyptian, whatever. Like women's were always just the head of the game. I think somewhere down the line, society made it a thing to like reverse roles and say that men were the providers and the protectors. I think it's a societal thing. I don't think it's instinctive or natural. Because like that other creator was saying, I stitched a video so you could go back and watch it. If it was a natural thing, and I actually wrote a video about this in my notes a couple months back, probably like October, and I was going to say something, but I got scared and I never posted the video. But since she did it, let's really just talk about it. If it was a natural thing, it wouldn't be forced. We wouldn't be having 50-50 conversations. We wouldn't be trying to remind men to do it. It would have been natural. It is more, from my experience, what I've observed with couples, it is more, common for men to want to be told what to do. Even when we look at the most powerful couples, there's always like a man who is kind of just like taking the lead of his wife. He might be the face of something, but it's evident that he's taking the lead of his wife. The wife is the brains of the operation. Okay, I wanted to give a really quick example. So take LeBron James and Savannah James. It is evident that LeBron is out all the time doing what he needs to do while Savannah is at home actually running their family system. So LeBron is the face of the system, but he goes out and he gets the money, quote unquote, providing, but he brings it back home to Savannah in order for her to successfully water and grow their family system. LeBron is the face and the provider while Savannah is the operator. And it's genius. It's a great system. Like Obama, for example, Obama and Michelle, he's very open about first of all, he introduces himself as, I am Michelle Obama's husband. And secondly, he is very open about the fact of, that Michelle ran the country and he was just the face. We notice that when a man is really, confident in his identity, he's much more likely to behave as Obama. And it's so funny because men, because of society, I'm just going to write it off to societal, norms. Because of society, men feel like they have to be dominant. They have to be the one to make all the decisions. But ironically enough, when they are in that position, they are uncomfortable. I don't make the rules. This is just what I see. I do want to say that men are, at their best when they're protecting. I could give them that. But when it comes to leading, if we just look at where society is going today, the best companies are being ran by women. We don't talk about it because, society has always wanted to women, and women don't get jobs and women don't get the CEO positions, but they do. So for my men out there, if leading doesn't feel natural to you, just find you a dominant woman that is willing and able to lead. And it won't be hard because naturally women are leaders. And dominant doesn't mean dominant over you. It just means confident, certain, sure, emotional, but the good kind. Because if you're able to tap into your emotions effectively, you can make the best decisions. But yeah, you guys are safe, kings. You don't have to lead the whole entire herd. Women can do it too. As humans, we're actually both masculine and feminine. As a human being, you should be able to operate from both places. But, society says men can only be masculine. And I see that ruining relationships every single day. Because it's really hard to feel like you have to be something that you're just not. So men feel like they have to be something that they're not, while women are expecting men to be something that they're not. And it's just causing all unnecessary conflict. So let's just, as a community, as a society, come together and realize that men are not always going to be the leaders that we want them to be. It is what it is.
Life gets so much easier when you realize there's no fucking such thing as masculine energy, feminine energy. None of those things. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as acting like a woman, acting like a man, feeling like a woman, feeling like a man. There's no such thing. We have made those things up. And the fact that we continue to go along with these like made up fucking things, like technically you could argue that literally everything is made up, but these specific made up things that do more harm than good, the fact that we still go along with them in this day and age is fucking insane and stupid. We are on a floating rock and you are worried about, how do I embody my feminine energy? I'm not a woman because I actually have a brain and I actually like things other than pink and dresses and shit. Like, we need to think for a second. What the fuck are we doing? What boxes are we putting ourselves in while trying to get out of them, if that makes sense? Like, we'll try to take ourselves out of one box and then put ourselves in another one subconsciously. Fuck the masculinity coaches and the feminine energy and how do I embody the defined feminine. Y'all aren't tired? Because I'm tired. I don't care. Like, for me, being a woman is literally just, I am in a body and I am doing whatever the fuck I want. That's it. It is nothing other than that. It's nothing, there's no special anything that comes with it. I don't have special traits because I'm a woman. There's nothing. Like, every trait that I have is because of who I am as a human being, the way that I was socialized, the people that I've been around, things like that. It's not because I'm a woman. It's not like I don't like certain things because I'm a woman. Like, certain things are based on the fact that gender, the social construct, tells you that you're supposed to like those things, and that's a very nuanced thing. But I don't try to tie specific things to the fact that I'm a woman, or if I like things that don't align with the binary, I'm not like, oh, well, that must make me not that. Like, you guys aren't tired? Like, you guys really aren't tired? Because I'm tired. What really appalls me is when white women come into my comments trying to explain to me what intersectional feminism means. And I'm like, you're talking to the person, you're talking to someone that's a part of the group that the term came up with for. A lot of people don't know what the fuck it means, so I'm going to explain it to you. It has nothing to do with including men in feminism. It's not that feminism is for everyone bullshit. It's not. Sorry, that's a whole other thing. Until everyone is having laws placed against them doing things with their own bodies, until everyone is being killed based on their sex, until everyone is experiencing those things, feminism is for women and girls, period. Anyways, intersectional feminism was something that was coined by Kimberly Crenshaw. It was coined due to the fact that previous waves of feminism and just the feminism that was mainly being pushed was very obviously leaving out the ways that it is very unique to experience discrimination as a Black woman, as a queer woman, as on different axes of oppression, essentially. It is a very unique experience to experience sexism and racism at the same time, and like later on that would also include homophobia at the same time. Like, all of those things being mixed together, that is a type of something that was left out of feminism, essentially. That's all it means. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything more than that. I don't need you to white woman explain. No, let me not play with y'all like that. But I don't need anyone to explain that to me. I am a Black lesbian woman. I'm well aware what it means.
The thing is, I don't care if that shit existed since the dinosaurs were roaming the earth. Labeling anything as masculine or feminine is a load of bullshit. It's stupid. It's very stupid and nonsensical, and it doesn't do anything to combat gender roles. We all claim to be against gender roles, but then we're like, that's masculine, that's feminine, that's divine feminine energy, that's dark feminine energy. That's like, it's bullshit. Do you not understand that it's bullshit?
Y'all are like obsessed with pretending to give a fuck about certain issues just because it gives you this excuse or this moral justification for hating Ariana Grande, when you can just say that you don't like her. You can just say that you don't like her. It's okay. You don't have to try to come up with some type of moral justification for it. Like, you can just dislike people in a normal way. You guys pretend that you care about the blackfishing, which was just a really fucking bad tan, but let's entertain it for a second. Let's say that she was blackfishing. Let's say that she was cosplaying as a Black woman. For one, most of you listen to male artists who abuse Black women in real life, and their entire catalog is dedicated to degrading us. So don't pretend that you give a fuck about Black women. Let's start there. To her being around a bunch of Black producers that became her best friends for several years while she was creating her albums, her starting to mimic their cadence and how they talk. And as you will see, she does that with literally everyone that she's around. That's just whatever. And you can think that that's weird, but let's stop putting like a morality on it. Like, I'm sure that she looks back and she cringes and whatever, but it's not like this moral issue that you guys try to make it out to be because you want justification for hating her. Like, you don't need a woke reason to hate somebody. You can just not like them. Also, if we as Black people ever try to ostracize or cancel or whatever you want to call it, every white person, every white artist, every white musician, every white person that has stolen from our culture or tried to mimic our culture, then a lot of people would have no fucking shot. No fucking shot. We would have nobody to like because everybody steals and profits from our culture, and that doesn't make it right, but we can't pick and choose. Then you guys claim to care about people having healthy or unhealthy relationships with food and their bodies, but you can't even respect when she says that it's triggering when you guys talk about hers. If you genuinely think that she has an eating disorder, you can't respect that she says it's triggering when you guys make your psychoanalyzing and picking apart everything about her body online. If you know one single thing about having anorexia, which you guys think that she has, I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows except for her and the people that are actually in her life. Obviously, everyone's situation is different, but more likely than not, they are going to be like, hey, I'm doing this right. Like, look at me. How can I get worse? And also, when it comes to the stuff with her boyfriend and her previous marriage, everything that you know is from page 6. You know nothing. It's from sources. And even if that shit actually happened, stop pretending that you care. Stop pretending that you give a fuck about that woman. Let's be fucking for real. You don't care. You don't care. And all that she's not a girl's girl is just repackaged misogyny. You guys will see something that has genuine intentions or pure intentions at first, and then you somehow manage to circle it all back around to a new way of being misogynistic towards women and shaming them for their choices. And I'm not saying that if you believe that someone has home wrecked, which obviously that concept does not exist. It does not exist. You can't wreck something that's not already fucked up. You can't wreck someone else's home. She is not the one that had loyalty to someone in a marriage. He made vows, and I have not seen all these videos about him, if that's what happened. But again, we don't know these people. We have no idea what happened. Anyways, get off your fucking high horses and stop acting like you have all these woke reasons to dislike her, because you don't. You can just say that you don't like her. She doesn't have to be everyone's cup of tea. No woman, no celebrity is going to be everyone's cup of tea. But you guys are very transparent, because the things that you choose to focus on, you're not consistent with it across the board. You're just performative as fuck, and nothing bonds people like collectively hating a woman. But you can never try to feminist or girl's girl or anything your way into getting me to dislike her. Don't care. Appreciate her as an entertainer. Appreciate her public persona. Appreciate her talent and all of those things. Just like you guys, I'm not gonna go any further with it. Fuck y'all.
If I gave Megan from Cat's Eye the ginger hair, I would be stamping it on my forehead. If I was the one who put ginger on Megan's head, every family reunion is hearing of it. You would see it on my resume. Under skills, I gave Megan ginger hair.
Next 4 years are going to be rough.
Tell me about it.
It's like you don't even know who you can trust these days.
I know. Seriously, it's so ridiculous.
I know. Every time I open my socials, I see people fighting and posting the craziest stuff. And I'm like, can't we as women just move forward together? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess.
You know, like we as women just want to feel safe when we're going into the bathroom and, you know, when we're trying out for sports teams, you know?
What do you
Well,
mean?
I'm talking about the illegal transgenders sneaking into the bathrooms. And yes, I voted for Trump, but you won't catch me in one of those red MAGA hats.
You know, there's not
Those are
like
just
different levels. Like you just, if you voted for him, that's all I need to know.
Oh, no, but I don't worship him like some of the others do. Like, I disagree with some of the things he says and does. Actually, most of the things.
Wait, I'm sorry, you don't agree with what he says or does. Why did you vote for him?
Specifically the economy and his policies.
Of course. Could you elaborate on that?
No.
Okay. I was like, aren't you a teacher?
Yes, I teach language arts. So I've seen firsthand they're trying to make everyone gay.
When has that ever happened, though?
Well, if you look on Facebook, it'll explain everything. It's the pronouns and all that.
What the fuck?
So you don't have to worry. I'm not one of those crazy MAGA people. I know he's flawed, but I have my personal beliefs. So I think we could just all put that aside. Where are you going?
Race and class are connected. Race and class are connected. Race and class are what? Connected. Especially in the US, although you can say this about most Western countries, but especially in the US, because our economy was originally based on free labor from enslaved people, you cannot have a full analysis in all of its nuances and complexities of capitalism without talking about race and ethnicity. And you can't talk about race and ethnicity in its full nuances without talking about capitalism. It's the reason why, if you're white and poor, you're going to shake out with a different lived experience from someone who is a person of color and also poor. And it's also why really, really rich people of color, especially black folk, can have all of the trappings and protections of wealth and it not go far enough because they're also people of color. So if you're reading a book or watching a movie or engaging in any type of story that talks about class and class division and class war, it doesn't negate any conversations that are also happening about race and ethnicity. In fact, those conversations have got to be a part of the conversation on class, capitalism, and wealth. So if you read The Hunger Games, for instance, and you're like, oh, but The Hunger Games isn't about race and ethnicity. It's about class. Baby, it's about it all. Because you can't have one without the other, because all of it make up our lived experiences. Yeah. So you can talk about, class and or race on a 101 basic level, focusing just on the one thing. But the minute you go into 202 or God forbid a 303, the conversations get more complicated. Things start to interconnect. Things start to overlap. Why is that? Because this might be a hot take, but being disabled doesn't give you the right to hate children, because it shouldn't give you the right to hate anybody. I know people are already typing, okay, but kids are overwhelming and overstimulating and they're loud and sticky and disrespectful and blah, blah, blah. Which, like, yeah, they are. And as somebody who grew up hearing almost the same thing said about black people, minus the sticky, y'all sound a lot like bigots when you say that, you know? Like, I know a lot of y'all have heard, you know, black people, especially black women, are so loud and so obnoxious and blah, blah, blah. Which, again, is an unfair stereotype, but that's not the point here. But y'all wouldn't shape your mouths to say, oh my gosh, black women are so annoying. We should have flights where black women aren't allowed to fly, or grocery stores where black women can't go. No, you would do what you usually do for the rest of society, which is like look for reasonable accommodations so that you can maneuver the world comfortably with your disability without, you know, further marginalizing and ostracizing someone else. The amount of comments I've seen from people who are like, I'm neurodivergent and I just can't stand kids. Really think about the fact that you're saying, wow, because of my disability, I hate another group of people. Because they're people. Y'all do know that kids are humans. But I am saying that openly hating, wanting to further ostracize and marginalize a whole group of people for any reason is bad, even if you're disabled. The only reason y'all feel so comfortable saying that and getting away with it is because they're kids, and kids are already marginalized people.